Welcome to the Quarry Hill Academy Preschool and Nursery Induction Meeting. We're sorry that you can't be coming into school at the moment in person, but we hope that this meeting will give you some information about your child's start in September and any of the bits and pieces that they need to bring with them in preparation for when they start. My name is Mrs. Braddin and I'm the Assistant Head Teacher at Quarry Hill Academy, and I oversee all of the classes down in Dell, which is our lower building from the Bradley campus, which is in Bradley Avenue. In this meeting, I'll be sharing with you all of the information that you need to know if your child is joining us for preschool or nursery in September, and hopefully sharing some of the things that we value at our school and what learning looks like to us. Now, this is the first time that we've ever used this programme, so hopefully there will be no glitches or anything, but please bear with us if it does pause in between. So on the screen, you'll be able to see our leadership team. So we have Mrs. Wakeling, who's our head teacher, myself, Mrs. Braddin, who's the assistant head teacher for EYFS and Key Stage 1, and we have Miss Steele as our acting deputy head, and Mrs. Weller, who is joining us in September, who will be our Key Stage 2 assistant head teacher. If there are any problems at any time you need to speak to someone from senior leadership, these would be the people that you'd be able to contact. Here we have our preschool team. We have Miss Johns, who is the room lead, Mrs. Fuchs, who's our deputy room leader, Miss Farrow, who is one of our key workers, and Miss Hooper, who is a key worker. All of these ladies will be key workers within the setting, but if there are any issues or questions that you have, Miss Johns or Mrs. Fuchs would be the ladies to talk to at the door. In our nursery team, we have Mrs. Walsh, who's the room leader for N1, which is one side of our nursery. We have Mrs. Begum, who is another room leader for N2, which is the other side of our nursery. We have Mrs. Snell, who's a key worker, and Mrs. Clark, who's a key worker. Once again, all of these ladies will have a key group, and you will have already had your virtual meetings with these ladies to meet the children and to learn a little bit more about you and your family. We have a lovely team who support all of our families at Quarry Hill. Two Senkos, we have Mrs. Rice and Miss Childs. If there's any concerns about your child's development, or you just need advice about some things that they may be doing, might be speech and language development, these would be the people to come and talk to. They'll be able to advise and lead you to other agencies that may be able to give you some advice as well. We have Mrs. Young, who's our family support worker, and we have Mrs. North, who's our pupil services support worker. So all of these people will be able to point you in the right direction if you have any questions that you need help on. Our school day. So preschool and nursery are very similar. They run very similar days. Preschool is more fluid, so the day may change depending on the needs of the children. If children are feeling particularly tired, then activities will be shortened. If they are interested in a particular subject that day, then planning will be changed and everything will be led on the children's interests, which is what we really value in our preschool setting. It's very fluid and it runs with the children's interests mainly. In our nursery setting, we do have a bit more structure. We are a very large nursery with up to 60 children on roll, and it means that some of the activities are more focused to the needs and individuals of those children. We do still have opportunities for children to share their interests, and we try to make sure that learning is catered for all needs in the class and their interests as well. So as you can see, preschool starts at 8:50 till 9 o'clock. That's when the doors are open for children to come in. There's an arrival where children do 3 choosing activities and they settle, and the key workers support them with putting their bags away, hanging up their coats and engaging in an activity. They then move into adult directed activities, which is led by their needs, by their key workers. And then there's a carpet session where they welcome each other and sing some songs. Throughout the day, they will then have time to go into the garden. There'll be a snack, which we provide. We have fruit, milk and water. And then the end of the session is 11:50 till 12 o'clock. Some of your children may be staying with us all day, so they will need to bring a packed lunch, which we'll come on to in a moment. In our PM session, it starts at 12:20 until 12:30, And once again, it's a similar routine to the morning where children come in, engage in some free choosing, and then start to have their adult-led activities. In our nursery, it's slightly earlier, and this is mainly due to the current situation that we're in and trying to ensure that everybody's keeping safe and we're distancing bubbles within our school. So nursery children will also come through our nursery gate as well as preschool, and they will arrive at 8:40 till 8:50. We do ask that these times are kept within that time so that there isn't any crossover between adults from different bubbles. Once again, very similar structure to the preschool. Children will come in for free choosing. There will be focused activities on tables in the nursery just to extend some of those children who are slightly older or more ready for that independent learning. And then they'll go through and have some garden time. Once again, snack is provided by us. So there will be an opportunity for them to have some fruit, milk or water. And then the end of the session is 11:40 to 11:50. Once again, if your child is staying all day, they will require a packed lunch. And then the second part of our session, the afternoon, will start at 12:10 till 12:20 will be the opening time. Similar structure again in the afternoon. And then our end of day is 3:10 till 3:20. And once again, these times are being kept to keep everybody in our community safe so that when you arrive, you're not crossing over too many people from a different bubble to you. Our learning approach at Quarry Hill, we really value the importance of play, as I know that many schools do, and we feel that learning through play is at the heart of all we do. At Quarry Hill, we value the importance of opportunities for children to explore, and we want them to be imaginative and investigative in their play. We want them to be able to feel confident enough to go up to resources that they may not have at home and experiment and explore. And as key workers and staff, it's our duty to work with those children and develop their skills as they play. Of course, throughout their play, there will be times where adults will direct learning based on the children's needs, and we do that through our rigorous observations, assessments, and making sure that we're targeting the needs of each individual child. We'd like to work really closely with our parents, and this is why we want to make sure that if you're engaging in what we call a wow moment, you're sharing moments at home about things that your child can do. And here you can see we value our partnership with parents. If you're sharing information about your children from home, maybe they've started to put their own shoes on or they're beginning to brush their own teeth, we would love to know that information so that we can in turn share what they're doing at school with you. We look forward to welcoming you to something that we started last year. We often invite parents in to come and see what learning looks like at Quarry Hill. Obviously, at the moment, we're unable to have adults in the school building, but we're going to be doing it virtually this year so that we can still invite you in the classroom. You'll still be able to see what happens with your children, but this will be done virtually using systems such as this. So throughout our early years time at school, all the way up until your children go to reception, there will be an early years foundation stage profile filled in for that child, and that means that if you start with us in preschool and you do follow all the way through to reception, all of this information will be gathered. But equally, if they end up going to another school in reception, this information will still be shared. When children are in preschool and nursery, we focus on the prime areas first, and you'll see them coming up on the screen now. So there's communication and language, physical development, personal, social and emotional development. These are the prime areas because these are what children start to learn from being very, very small. So our children who come in at 2 and 3, this will be what we start with them. We're focusing on them listening and understanding what they're hearing, being able to speak clearly and confidently to the people around them, being able to have conversations with each other and begin to take turns. We engage in physical development, not just moving around the classroom and the playground, but also holding pencils, using scissors, being able to pick up small objects using their finger and their thumb. We call that pinchy grip at school. All of these skills are vital for their development and lead on to them being able to read and write in the future. We also look at their personal, social and emotional development. And this is once again their confidence, being able to speak as part of a group, meeting new people and being able to bond with those adults and children around them. Building up their feelings and making sure that they understand how they're feeling and that it's okay to express those feelings in a safe space. understanding routines and behaviour, and making sure that they are following those routines at school. As they become more confident in the prime areas, we start to look at specific areas such as literacy, maths, understanding of the world, and expressive art and design. These areas can look very different from our reception children, nursery and preschool. In preschool and nursery, we're focusing on mark making in literacy. So that's using all different resources. It could be paints, it could be shaving foam, pencils, crayons, anything that children pick up and make a mark with is valuable in their learning. We share books, we read stories, we act out stories, and usually we start with our familiar traditional tales, so things like Little Red Riding Hood, Cinderella, all of those stories that they've grown up with, probably hearing from home. In maths, we focus on number, shape and space, and we look at patterns and we learn about number and what number actually means. A lot of the time our children are able to recognise numbers, but they need to understand that that has a quantity and what that means when they're learning and exploring in the classroom. We learn about understanding the world, learning about people around us, their jobs, why every job is important, and how parents at home have a very important role as well in looking after us. We learn about the world, changes in seasons, and we look at technology, which some of our children are coming through even more confident every year. We're noticing that they are able to use CD players, iPads and tablets, so please encourage those skills at home. Expressive arts and designs, so this is where they're exploring all of that creativity, learning through music, movement and arts, and we cover all of those things within our play. So we encourage children to become different characters, to put on costumes and turn into the characters from their books and stories. Outdoor learning is a huge part of all we do at Quarry Hill. We have a wonderful outdoor area that's full of 3 different levels that children can access. Our preschool children also have their own outdoor area, which is being put on a smaller scale that is right for their age and stage. At Quarry Hill, we encourage children to explore and to play outside in all weather conditions. So we please ask that parents provide their children with a coat that is waterproof, Wellington boots with their names on, a sun hat and sun cream for those hotter days, and then optionally, if you'd like them to have a waterproof pair of trousers, this is always useful in our mud kitchen because children can get particularly dirty up there. But it's something we do encourage. We do encourage them to sit on the floor and engage with the mud because they learn so much by digging and feeling different textures. Throughout their year, they'll be exploring different topics. We teach through topics just to start the learning off, but as I say, we speak to the children and they tell us their interests and we try to develop that learning based on what they like. But some of the topics that your children will be exploring will be all about me, people who help us, growing, dinosaurs, explorers and splash. All of these are just a starting point for their learning, and it helps us to give them something to focus on and stimulate learning in a fun and exciting way. Home learning is really important as well, and it comes back to our partnership with parents. We want parents to be as involved as they possibly can be, and that can start with just sharing books at home. Every week your child will bring home a book in their book bag or in their backpack if they're in preschool, and this is a lovely opportunity for you to share something from school and build that bond from school and home. You can look at that story multiple times throughout the week. We would usually change them daily, but at the moment, due to the current situation, we're only going to change them weekly at the moment. But keep rereading those stories because the more you practice, children will begin to remember, and you might find that they will retell the story with you using the pictures. As you're reading each night, try and ask your children questions about the story, and it can be as simple as, where is the pig? Or where is the bear? And ask them to point to that picture in the story. All of this is helping their retrieval and helping them to learn about text and how to read books and how to get information from a book. We will also be having our weekly newsletters, and in there are daily challenges that you can try at home linked to the learning that we're doing at school. We'll also have our online learning system, which is called Purple Mash, and for some of your children who've been with us in preschool, you will already be using that at the moment. It's a fantastic site that shares lots and lots of games and engaging puzzles and activities that you can do at home with your children, that's online and is encouraging their technology, but also engaging in lots of different areas of the curriculum whilst being at home. So these will all be given out to you as your children start in September. Learning journals. At Quarry Hill, we share your child's learning journey through a book, and this book is a wonderful thing to keep and to treasure as your children get older, especially if they move through school and stay with us. That journey is built and built and built through each class they go through, and it helps to build a picture of all the things that your child is able to achieve and some of the things that they've worked really hard to overcome. Within this book, we collect photos of your child's learning, observations, parents' pictures and wow moments from home, pieces of work the children complete, and their next steps. Every half term, key workers will give children a next step, which is on a footprint. And this is just to show something that we're particularly targeting for that half term. There may be lots of other things that we're focusing on, but there's always one particular next step that we target, and we share that with parents so that you can in turn practice that at home as well. And that could be things such as getting myself dressed or using the toilet. So these are really important skills for their future development. We use this information to inform our assessments that are made at the end of each half term. Usually we would invite you in person to share these books with you every half term, but at the moment we're going to have to do that virtually. But we hope that soon we will be able to invite parents back in, as we love to talk and share these books with you. It's a wonderful opportunity to just show all the wonderful things that your children have been doing. So this is the big part of how you can prepare your child for September. Now there's obviously lots of things that you could be doing, but these are some of the main things that we would suggest are vital for your children before starting school. We ask that you practice independently dressing and undressing, and that can just be simple things of pulling trousers up, pulling trousers down, putting their t-shirt on, trying to put their shoes on the right feet. So we know that children are going to need lots of support still, but it's that practice that will help them to try and be a little bit more independent. We ask that you practice toilet training as soon as possible. The summer is a great opportunity to do that. Lots of time to be able to practice going to the bathroom, making sure they're trying to have a go, and learning about why it's important to wash their hands. We ask that they help to put their own shoes on. We ask that Velcro shoes when they start in September are the best things for them to have, or a slip-on shoe, something that they can independently do and they feel proud that they've been able to do it themselves. If they have laces, this is a lot trickier, but this is something that we will build up throughout the year. We please ask that all of their uniform is clearly labelled. Now, some labelling companies will have a picture at the side of the name, and this will help children to identify. If they're not sure of their own name, they will know their character on their stickers. So there are companies, I know that big superstores like Tesco's and Morrison's do sell these already, and you can send off for the name to be put on, but also for a symbol. And this can really help your children with working out if that piece of clothing is theirs. We ask you to encourage your children to begin feeding themselves at home, and this could be with a knife and a fork or a spoon, but just to encourage them to be doing that themselves. Also to encourage finger foods. So if they're not having sandwiches at the moment, try and encourage them to have sandwiches so they can pick them up themselves and eat, and just build that independency ready for school. Some other things that you can do to prepare your children. Talk about the daily routine. Share this PowerPoint with them and let them see the photos of the staff. Let them talk about what they might be doing at school. Practice finding their own name. Maybe you can hide it around the house and see if they can find it. Enjoy reading together and share lots and lots of lovely stories in preparation for September, and develop a good sleeping routine. If children are in a regular routine, they will feel fresher in the morning and they'll be able to understand that this is what we do when we start school. The most important thing that I would encourage is have a wonderful summer. We know that it's been a really difficult time where everyone's been indoors, but now that restrictions are being lifted a little, enjoy some time together as a family and enjoy being outside and enjoying that environment before they start school. At Quarry Hill, we do ask that the nursery children wear a uniform. Preschool children do not need to wear a uniform, but we do ask to wear old clothes that you don't mind if they become mucky. As much as we try to make sure they're wearing aprons, we still have those moments where children will naturally venture over to a messy area and will put it all down their clothes. So please be mindful of things that you're dressing your children in. But for the nursery children, we do ask that the following things on the screen are for our children. It makes them feel part of the school and really grown up, ready for reception. So for boys, it's a navy sweatshirt with the logo if you can. If you're not able to get one, don't worry. But we ask that they're wearing smart trousers, smart shoes, and their polo tops. Same for the girls, they can wear trousers or skirts, but we do ask that they look nice and smart as the rest of the school would be. It just gives them that sense of feeling that they're part of the school and they're nice and smart. Now for PE, this is more for our reception children. So nursery and preschool do not need a PE kit, but we do ask that they are wearing sensible shoes so that if they are running around, they're not going to fall off or hurt themselves. So please make sure that they've got sensible shoes in school so that they can engage in physical activity. If your child is staying all day, they will need a packed lunch. We ask that you keep this as a healthy packed lunch. So no chocolate or sweets, please, or fizzy drinks. On the screen is some ideas for different things you could put in a packed lunch box. So try and keep it not a large amount. Sometimes if children have too much in their lunch, it becomes overwhelming. So think about things that your child enjoys eating and can eat independently. We want them to feel independent and able to feed themselves. Unfortunately, we're not able to feed the children individually, so we do ask for things that they're able to do on their own. We are a nut-free school, so please be mindful of certain things that may contain nuts that you wouldn't normally think of having them in. So things like chocolate spreads, cereal bars, please check them before you pack, as there are some of our children who have very severe allergies, and we do need to be careful as a whole school. Attendance. Now, although nursery and preschool children, we do not monitor their attendance the same as we would do in reception, we do encourage all parents to bring their children to every session that they have given, because those sessions are paid for in advance, and we want to make sure that you're using those sessions to the fullest. We don't want children to miss out on any valuable learning. So we do ask that children are punctual, and this is building that independence again and that ability to recognise that we need to be at school on time. So here are our times again, and remembering that preschool and nursery are slightly different, but we do ask that children arrive at these times. If they arrive after these times, they will need to come to the Dell front reception area. Now, this is not an office, but their children can come here and be signed in if the gates are closed. We will be in the beginning trying to keep those gates open a little bit longer, just until everybody is settled back into routine. If your child is feeling unwell, please ensure that you call the Bradley office, which is where all of our office inquiries will be this year. Please inform them of your child's absence and what class they will be in. Please let us know why they're not attending school and when they would be back. This just helps us to eradicate if there is any sickness or diarrhoea present, so that we can give you the right advice for how long your child needs to stay away from school. We do say that 24 hours after symptoms arise for sickness and diarrhoea, please keep them at home, and then once they're fully ready, they can then return to the setting. Now, obviously, it's slightly different this year that we're looking at COVID-19 symptoms. If you, your family, or anyone that you've been in contact with is displaying signs of COVID-19, we ask you to keep your children at school and to inform us as soon as possible. This is to ensure the safety of all of our children, staff, and wider community. So these are things such as a temperature, a persistent cough, or loss of smell or taste. Please make sure you let somebody know if you're experiencing any of these symptoms, and please follow the government guidance of going to get tested and letting us know the results as soon as possible. Once again, this is just to make sure that everybody is keeping safe. If there are any medical matters, any medical needs that your children have, please let your key workers know before they start school. So this is things like medications, pumps, EpiPens. If your child has any of these, our office in Bradley needs to know about this before they start, and they will give you a form to fill in to make sure that they are able to have those medications in school. We do not administer any oral medications. This would need to be done by a parent who comes up to the school to administer. However, we can administer pumps and EpiPens as long as we've got all of the information given to us from your doctor. Please speak to the Bradley office about these things. Once again, if you've got any prescribed medications, please check this through with the Bradley office and they will give you guidance on how this can be administered. Please make sure that all your medical needs are kept up to date, and if you do have any asthma pumps or EpiPens, that they are up to date and that we have one of those that's kept at school all the time, please. Now, when your children start in preschool or nursery, you may notice that they become quite sleepy. Now, this is normal. They're going to be very busy and engaging in lots of lovely activities. If they become tired during our sessions, we do offer a sleep time or a nap time or just a time to rest. And so we offer a cosy corner, which is just to rest, relax through the session if they need to. They might want to just curl up and read a story or just lay down for a few moments, and that's completely fine within our setting. We do have a nap area, which is a sleep room in the preschool. We do not have one in our nursery, as we try to encourage our children to begin to stay awake for longer so that they can engage in lots more activities that are age appropriate. For our preschoolers, we understand that some of them are still very young. So if you feel that your child needs a nap, please let your key worker know so that we can put this into their daily routine. If they have comforters at home, such as blankets, teddies and dummies, we do ask that you keep teddies and dummies at home as much as possible. It's one of those things that if they do drop on the floor, they would need sterilising, or if another child was to pick them up or take them home, we wouldn't want any of our children to be lost without their comforters. What we do suggest is that if they are staying all day and having a nap, that you provide a sheet and a pillow that can go in a bag that's named for your child, and that can be kept in our sleep room so that it's just for them to access when they need it. Changing and toileting. So it is our expectation that any of our nursery children who start with us are already toilet trained or are beginning toilet training. As we said before, if it's the summer holidays, it's always the best time to start toilet training, even if you're just beginning. And what we ask for is that you bring lots of spare clothes to school so that we can continue that with you. In the preschool, we understand that some of our children may still be in nappies or pull-ups, but we still ask that if they're able to and they're recognising the need to go to the toilet, that you are beginning to invite them to try and begin toilet training. It's fantastic for their development and it helps them greatly at school. Throughout the day, there will be lots of opportunities for toileting. So we'll encourage the children to go at circle time, snack times, and before they go home. They will also have changing opportunities then as well if there are any children in nappies or pull-ups. If they are needed more frequently, then that will happen within the session with their key worker, but we try to keep this routine to build up that understanding of when we need to go to the toilet, and it helps to encourage them to be more independent, that they know what's coming and they may begin to do that on their own. We do ask that all parents provide nappies, wipes, nappy sacks, and any other things that their children may need for a change, as we do not provide any of those things at school. If you want to bring in a pack of nappies and wipes, you can do that and they can be left at school, but they will need to be clearly labelled so that key workers know whose those things belong to. We ask that all of these things are kept in a bag so that it's easily transferable between home and school. So what things does your child need to bring to school each day? If they're in the preschool, they don't need a great deal. They just need a small backpack containing nappies, wipes, underwear if they're already potty training, spare clothes and a water bottle with their name on. We are not providing any cups at school this year. Due to our current situation, we feel it would be beneficial for children to all have their own bottles that they can use throughout the session freely if they need a drink. If your child is staying all day, they will require a flat sheet and a thin blanket, and then they can have a pillow that they would like to have, any comforts that make them feel comfortable to go to sleep. These all need to be in a clearly labelled bag that will be kept at school. We will then send that home weekly for a wash and then it can be returned the following week. They will also require a healthy packed lunch, and once again we please say no nuts or chocolate or sweets or fizzy drinks, and please keep it to things that children can feed themselves with independently. Please also make sure that all food is cut appropriately, especially grapes, so that there's no choking hazards. We provide your children with a healthy snack, milk and water, so you do not need to provide this. If your child is in nursery, they will need very similar things, but instead of a backpack, we ask them to bring in a school bag with the logo on, which can be purchased online. We ask for a change of underwear, socks and trousers or skirts if they're wearing skirts, just in case they have any accidents. We ask for suitable coats and waterproof shoes, and once again, a water bottle with their name on. If they're staying all day, we ask for that healthy packed lunch again, please. No nuts or chocolate or sweets or fizzy drinks. And please make sure that everything is cut appropriately for your child's age. And once again, we provide snack, so you do not need to provide that for school. Now, some of your children may be entitled to 2-year-old funding. This gives you 15 hours of free childcare each week. And it's really important, if you think you may be eligible, to visit the website on the screen and make sure that you put in your details and see if you are eligible for a code. As soon as you have a code, you can give that to school, and then we will be able to activate that and give you those 15 free hours. Funding is valid for 38 weeks of the academic year. Once that has expired, you will then have to pay any top-up sessions, but usually this is covered for the whole time that your children will be attending preschool. Our 3-year-olds receive 15 hours free funding from the government for all 3-year-olds, but this can only be received the term after they are 3. So you do have to check which term of birth that they are in, and if you want to contact me, I can always give you that information. I know lots of parents have already done that. If you are eligible for 30 hours, once again, please go online and have a look and see if you are eligible. You may be entitled to full-time childcare, and this will give you 30 hours, and they will give you a code which can be given to school, and that would mean that they can attend school for 30 hours as long as we have those spaces available. Most of you have already given us those codes, so thank you very much in advance. All of our payments for our nursery and preschool places need to be made in advance, and we ask for that each half term. At the moment, we'll be doing that very soon. You'll have invoices coming through to your email addresses, and we ask that that is paid as soon as possible to guarantee your child's place in September. Once we go through the year, that will happen every half term. If that we do have spaces and you would like to increase your children's hours, you can ask and see if we can have some more sessions. It's £15 for 3 hours, and this can be done as flexibly as you need it, but you will need to contact myself to just see if we have those spaces available. Now, this is obviously a big change for us, and I know that lots of different schools are doing the same. And here are some of the measures that we've put in place as a result of COVID-19 and how we're going to manage this as a school, ensuring that everybody is safe, our community, our staff and our pupils. So some of the things we've put in place. At school, new guidance states that schools will need to create year group bubbles to ensure that the spread of the virus can be reduced and monitored closely. This means that we can now have our whole classroom bubble together, engaging as they usually would, which we feel is the best way for children to start back at school. We want children to feel as normal as possible, that they can play and they can engage as they usually would, but just within their class bubble rather than being as a whole Dell building. We'll be taking extra measures to ensure the safety of all of our pupils, staff and families over the coming months. These measures will be protective as well as suitable for the ages of the children. So everything that we put into place is taking into account the ages of these children. To ensure the transition back to school is nice and positive, we hope that everyone will be able to follow these measures with us. So to start with, we'll be having a staggered entry for all year groups throughout the Dell site. So reception children will be entering through our Dell entrance, and nursery and preschool will enter through our nursery entrance. And the times will be shown in the next few slides. On arrival, children will be asked to use hand gel to wash their hands and place any lunch boxes or book bags into relevant boxes and trolleys. They'll be expected to come into school independently, and this means that adults will not be able to come into class with them. But don't worry, we have lots of our lovely key workers on hand to help your children with coming into school, and we'll make this as positive experience as we can so that they feel happy and confident to come in and wave goodbye to you at the door. If you have any questions that you need to ask an adult, please remember that we need to keep that distance at the door. If you would like to ask a question, please direct that to myself, Mrs. Braddin. I will be on the site either near reception or by nursery, and you can come and find me and ask those questions. Alternatively, you can call the Bradley office and an appointment can be made with the room leaders if you feel you need to speak to someone. We please ask that parents keep distance from the door and only come to the door when a teacher asks you to come towards them. This is just to make sure that there's not any crossovers of adults and that children have got enough time to safely come into the room and be settled before the next child is brought in. Lunch times will be more staggered this year. So nursery children will have their lunch at 11:40, followed by the preschool at 12 o'clock, and they'll return to their own classes for free choosing before the next session starts. As we've mentioned before, all children are in their own bubbles, and that is as a whole class. So all of those children can freely engage with each other within that class setting, happy in the knowledge that we are now a bubble, and lots of regular cleaning of hands and cleaning of equipment will be taking place to ensure that everybody is kept safe. All of our resources will be being cleaned regularly, such as the toilets, tables and the chairs, as well as the equipment that children are using. The most important bit of advice we're going to be giving all of our children, staff and pupils is lots and lots of hand washing and making sure that we're regularly washing our hands. If anybody is to sneeze, we've got lots of measures in place to make sure that they are using a tissue and putting it in the bin once they're finished. As we mentioned before, if anyone of you or your family or people that you've been in contact with or your children start to experience any of the symptoms of COVID-19, we ask that you let us know as soon as possible. And some of those more well-known symptoms are things such as a high temperature, a persistent cough, or a loss or change in taste or smell. Now, there are lots of information online about different symptoms in children, but you know your children. If they seem unwell and they seem unusually unwell, please keep them at home and let the school know, and then take the necessary measures to make sure that you are being tested and checked to make sure that there is no symptoms of COVID-19 before returning them back to school. And we will need to see that, please. So some important dates for you. We look forward to welcoming your children in September, and I know there's been lots of information already, and hopefully you can go back through this video and look at anything that you need to take down in notes. But here's some of the important information of when we're starting and how we're going to do this safely, whilst also in making sure that children are having a nice transition, because unfortunately we can't invite parents into school at the moment. So on the week beginning the 7th of the 9th 2020, we'll be inviting on the 7th and the 8th of September our newest children. So they are children that have never attended our setting before. They will be invited for a 1-hour stay and play session with their key workers, and key workers will be calling families to arrange this with you shortly. On the 9th, 10th and 11th, we will then ask our new children to stay home, but then we will be inviting our returning children. So these are children who have been to our preschool. They will now have their moving up session, and it will be for 3 days of that week. They will attend for only AM or PM sessions. And once again, the key workers will let you know what sessions your children are attending. This is to help them transition from preschool to nursery, for them to get used to the environment, the staff, and to just settle back into school life. The following week, the week of the 14th, we'll then be asking our preschoolers who are moving up to return for their full allotted hours. So they will come to nursery and have their normal hours that they have picked for this year, and they will become nursery children. We will then have our new nursery and preschool children, so those who have never attended our setting before. They will arrive for AM and PM sessions only. There'll be no full sessions for those children for that week only. Once again, key workers will let you know what sessions they should be attending. And then in the third week of the 20th of the 9th, all children will be coming to school for their regular allotted sessions. We'll be having full day sessions, AM and PM, based on what you've allocated for your children with me previously. All of our term times can be found on our website. Please ensure that holidays are not booked during term time. We like to ensure that children are feeling that they're part of school and that they're not missing out on anything that's happening. If you do book a holiday, please let us know in advance and let us know the dates of when your child will not be attending this setting. We thank you so much for your time and thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions and you would like some answers to those questions, please email us through our admin email, which can be found on our website, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Many thanks, and we look forward to seeing you in September.